coach, and I might be a prophet of the Most High God. We're doing this thing that I call the D.I.M.E Devotional. Been at it for a little while now, but I think I'm getting better. Yeah, I think I'm getting better. This is episode number 486 of the Daily Inspiration, Motivation, and Exhortation. My job, my role, my effort. I'm dropping dimes at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Slow down. Take your time. My goal is to speak life into a dead situation. I want to tell you about a particularly hard time. Check out my website, briankeefe360.com, but also check out this blog. I write this blog, a pretty amazing blog. It is entitled, I Might Be a Prophet. I think it is going to bless you real good, as the old folks would say. But it is a moment in time, 2018, 2019, where I experienced probably one of the most gut-wrenching times in my life. And it was gut-wrenching for a few different reasons, but I'll narrow it down to one. I'd come to a point where a thing that I'd been hoping for and praying for, a thing that I'd worked desperately for 9 years prior to build, all of a sudden the thing that I had done, that I was known for, that I established, that I built, it all of a sudden became, hey Curtis, how you doing? It all of a sudden became a chore. Let me make sure I'm clear. The thing that I'd prayed for God to give me had become a thing that I now despised. And it was confusing. It was weird for me as I was transitioning from year 9 into year 10. And then I did about 10 months in year 10. I was in this place where I loved it at one time. And again, I can't stress this enough. What do you do when the thing that you ask God for and you get it all of a sudden becomes the thing that you hate? And I find myself in this predicament where the thing that I did that used to bring me so much joy is no longer bringing me joy. The environment, the conversations, the people. And it was this business. It was this carpet rug and upholstery cleaning business that I had been so successful at. It was more money than I've ever made in my life. It was more success than I had ever had in my life. It created a stream of income and a level of notoriety that I can't say I've ever experienced. It was a beautiful moment. But all of a sudden, and I wouldn't say all of a sudden, progressively over time, I find myself to a point where I even hated to answer the phone for the people who were calling me to give me money. Quite a bit of money, in fact. How do you get there? Now, I always take notes and I always try to make sure I convey a complete thought. But it was 2018, 2019, rough, because I lost the key word. And here's the word I want you to think about. Passion. Have you lost your passion for something? I lost my passion for business. And again, what's unique about me losing this passion is because this was something I asked God for. I was walking in my promised land. I had the thing that I prayed for. I had the thing that was the desire of my heart. But I had it for quite some time now. And I found myself despising it. What do you do when the thrill of your business or a particular opportunity leaves you? What do you do when the thrill is gone? That's the title. The thrill is gone. You've worked hard to build something and it served you well. It served you in a particular way. In fact, you may be known for it. You may be known for the very thing that you do. Brian the carpet cleaner is what I was. 5-star carpet cleaning. I was known for that. A thing that you hoped and prayed for has now become a thing that you loathe. What do? You've come to recognize that if an intervention does not present itself soon, you may do something drastic. You may do something out of character. You might do something that is not considered apropos. You might do something to ruin and tarnish the very reputation that you took all that time to build. How does that happen? How do you go from wanting something so badly? This could be a marriage. I don't know who I'm talking to. It could be a marriage. It could be a business. It could be a career. It's not always about entrepreneurship. It could be a relationship. Could be this thing that you wanted and you wanted it so badly, but now the thing that you asked for is no longer serving you. So here's the question, and I want to kind of give you why that can happen. Now, for me, and I'll probably answer this on the back end, there's 3 things that come to mind. There could be various reasons why you find yourself in this predicament, but I want to give you 3 scenarios as to why. Here's the question. Am I doing the thing that I'm doing, am I doing it wrong? That's the first question. The second question is, am I doing it for the wrong people? And then the third question, which is probably obvious, am I doing the wrong thing altogether? And these are the questions that were coursing through my veins, running through my mind 2018, 2019, as I'm contemplating the fact that now I hate something that I used to love. I'm loathing something that I asked God to give me. Do you understand what I'm saying? Can you identify? Well, this is the solution that was for me. For me, I had to realize that the 10-year mark was supposed to be the end. So I did 10 years, 10 months, and 10 days. I use it as a handoff to the 10 to 10. That's kind of where I got the 10 to 10 from. The 10 a.m., the 10 p.m., the dropping dimes, the 10 a.m., 10 p.m. So I use it to be a transition into what I'm supposed to do now. But what I realized is that God actually had told me to shut that business down at a decade. I had done all that I could possibly do. I'd made 6 figures, 5-star, had changed the trajectory of my family and improved some of these thoughts that have been running around inside my head. So there was nothing else for me to prove, yet I'd come accustomed to the reputation, I'd come accustomed to the income, I'd come accustomed to being known as the superstar bootstrapping entrepreneur. And if I'm honest with you, I didn't want to walk away from that. It began to affect my health. It began to affect my morale. It began to affect my very spirit because the season, in my particular case, had passed. 3 ideas, 3 concepts. I always want to leave you with 3 things to think about because only you can answer this one. See, this is not one of those conversations where I give you the answer. My job is to tell you my story, tell you how I solved it, and hopefully you can glean from my story. The test can become the testimony, and we overcome. We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the words of our testimony. So this is my testimony. So here's comes the question. The question becomes, why do I hate what I once loved? Why do I hate what I once loved? Why? The reason could be this. I got 3. I don't know if this is all of them. So this is not a comprehensive list, but this is 3 scenarios. So just hear me out. The first reason could be the method. It could be how you're executing on the thing. Do you need to change? If I change the framework of the business, if I change the framework of my relationship, if I change the framework of the job, if I change the framework of the school, maybe I'm in the wrong discipline. Maybe I'm going after the wrong degree. Maybe I'm at the wrong school. Maybe I'm in the wrong field. It could be a number of things. Maybe the relationship, assuming that you're not married. I'm not trying to get you out of your marriage. Assuming that you're not married, maybe it's the relationship. Maybe it's the way you relate to the person that you're dealing with. You grew up. You're no longer kids anymore. You're no longer in that whippersnapper part of your life. So she's not the finest thing in the building anymore, and you're not the stud you used to be. So to relate to her through the lens or the prism of who you used to be, you got to make an adjustment. You're not the same person. She's not the same person. Can you fall in love with who she is now based on who you are now? Maybe the reason why you've lost the passion is because you got to change the framework of the relationship. Do you need to change the business process, the business structure, or the business model? So for example, are you operating as an independent operator, or are you operating, hey, how you doing? Are you operating as an independent, an LLC, and maybe you need to consider a partnership? Maybe you need to consider, maybe you've run this course, you've done all that you can do in your particular business. I'm talking about, what do you do when you lose the passion for something that you once prayed for and hoped for? What do you do when you lose that passion? Maybe what you can possibly do is, it might be time to sell the business, or it might be time to be incorporated into a larger business so that you have a larger, more widespread distribution channel. Maybe it's an opportunity for you to change the structure of the business, the relationship, or the career, and perhaps that's the reason why the passion is gone. You got to hear what I'm saying. Point number 2. Maybe the reason why the passion is gone, maybe the reason why you hate the thing that you used to love could be this: you're serving the wrong people. See, let me share something with you. A customer is a person that you serve out of convenience, but a client is a person you solve based on a calling. Let me say that again. A customer is a person that you serve out of convenience. You offer them your services or products or ideas because they're there. But a client is a person who sought you out, who specifically wants what you do, and they want the way you do it. That's a client versus a customer. Maybe your business is full of customers and you need to find your clients. You need to find your niche. Maybe if you find your niche, something happens. There's a reciprocity there. There's a mutualism there. When you have a client versus a customer, see, a customer will go anywhere, but a client is coming specifically for you. And so if you're not filled, if your roster or your client list is not filled with people who are actually clients versus customers, then something that you need that is important to business, you're getting robbed of. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that the transaction alone is not enough. It's when you transform a life, that's what makes things much more meaningful. What am I talking about? When you can be more than just a contractor, you can just be more than a service provider, but you can be a person. See, people will hire you. They will call you because of the problem that you uniquely solve. They'll call you for your gift, but they will keep you for your anointing. Let me say that again. They will hire you for a particular skill, but they'll keep you for the gift that God has given you. See, they'll hire you because you have the right degree, but they will retain you and call you back because you have a spirit of excellence. You have a spirit of leadership. There's a peacemaking spirit that is on you. When you come into an environment, you create an environment of peace. So they're keeping you because of the gift. They hired you because of the skill. So maybe, just maybe, you're not in front of the right people. You've been giving your products or services to people who are actually customers who would easily, here's what you know. Here's how you know. I'm glad you asked the question. In my mind, I feel like there's a question being asked. Please tell me the difference between a client and a customer. I'd be happy to do that. A client is a person who seeks you out based on who you are and what you do and the uniqueness of who you are and what you do. A customer will go to another person who does what you do based on price, based on a referral, based on passion. They'll leave you for anything, but when people are dialed into who you are, it's bigger than just the service. Now they're dialed into the person. I always try to make sure I have a conversation with my clients about my family, about my parents, about my dreams, my hopes, my desires, even about my fears. Why? Because I'm quickly trying to shift from being just another person who you've seen today to becoming a human being. I don't want to be just a contractor. I want to be Brian Keith. When I become Brian Keith, I'm unique. I'm different. I'm an individual. I have a heart. I have a mind. I have a spirit. I have a soul. I have a gift. I have a call. I have a relationship with God. And so when you become an individual person to the people you serve, now you stand out. Now you're distinctive. So now they're not calling a service. They're not calling a business. They're calling a person, and that person is you. So you want to make sure you're self-distinctive. And under this idea of how do I get from being passionate about something that I love to all of a sudden hating it, it could be because the client that's in front of you is the wrong client. The person you're serving is the wrong client, the wrong customer. You're not actually getting the mutualism. It's always about, see, you got to realize as a human being, we're not motivated by money for long. That's not what we're motivated. In fact, you're not motivated. I'll say this to you. I don't think you're motivated by money at all. You're motivated by what you think the money provides for you. See, the money provides for you a home. It provides for you security. It provides for you shelter. It provides for you a sense of comfort because you associate money with those things. Your heart is not after money. There's a point where there's a point of diminishing returns. You can have more money than you can ever spend, or you've had so much money, but it doesn't make you happy. What you're after is a little thing called DOSE, D-O-S-E, dopamine, oxytocin, and dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. What is this? These are the happy chemicals. This is the thing that you get when you do a job well done, even if they don't pay you, even if they dispute the price, even if they tell you your service was terrible. There's a satisfaction that you have from knowing you gave them your best. When you operate in that, that's better than money. That's what you want to get to. That's the difference between a customer and a client. When you are operating with your clients, there's a non-tangible compensation that's released in the form of a chemical in your brain. And again, DOSE, dose, is a dose of reality, a dose it's a divine connection to the thing that you're called on this earth to do. And so I believe that the heavens are rewarding you in that moment for being obedient. And it stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Point number 3, and the answer, or the question that I'm trying to answer is this: why am I no longer passionate about something that I used to have an immense passion for? How is it that the business, the relationship, or the career that I once fought for, died for, believed it to have is now something I could easily walk away from? And if someone doesn't speak up like me, if someone doesn't provide an intervention quickly, I might do something drastic. Those are the people I'm speaking to in this moment. What I'm saying to you is that, number one, it could be the fact that you are operating with the wrong business model. Your method might need to shift. You might need to change your method. Maybe you've been going B2C, business to consumer, and you need to pull back and thinking about going business to business. Maybe you should be selling to other businesses and not selling directly to the customer. Maybe there's too much pressure there. Maybe you should go wholesale. Maybe you should go retail. You don't know. Whatever the change is that you need to be, maybe you should take your business out of a storefront and put it online 100%. I was talking to a phenomenal graphic designer yesterday, and I gave him an idea. And I suggested that because there's always the question of cost. People want you because they love what you do, but they are not necessarily equipped. What's up, Kenya? They are not necessarily, in terms of their mindsets, ready to pay the price that you charge. Now, I'm not saying that you should compromise on your price. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that once you start getting a number of calls for something that you don't do, you might want to create a package or a solution to serve those people. Let me say that again. If you get 10 calls, you only get 10 calls a day, and 9 of those calls you are out of their price range, it may be to your advantage to either find a partner who can do it for less, or find a system that you can offer them that allows them to get what they want at a better price. And that could involve them not being directly connected to you. So maybe an idea would be, if you don't want, so let me just talk about what I actually did. Let me not do hypotheticals. So I lived in an area which is 60 miles top to bottom, 60 miles east to west. It is called Dallas, Fort Worth, DFW. It is all city from 60 miles up and down, 60 miles east and west. So you cannot tell when you're going from one city to the next city. It is easy for me to get a call from someone, or was easy for me back when I was in this carpet cleaning business, because you're doing the job in the customer's home. It would be nothing for me to get a call from someone who was an hour away. What did I have to do? So what I had to do was I had to charge a minimum amount in order to justify the 1 hour trip to and the 1 hour trip away. I could not drive that far to clean a single room, or even 3 rooms. If I wasn't doing the whole house, in fact, I want to say my minimum charge might have been $250 to go that far, but that doesn't sound good to a person who wants to clean 3 rooms. So I found a solution. This is what I did. I teamed up, or I found various other carpet cleaners in all the different areas of the city who I trusted. And I would refer the client. So first I would let the customer know what my standard was. That's key. I let them know what my standard was. This is my standard. I can only come your direction, and I'd love to come your direction, for a minimum charge of $250. And that minimum charge is predicated upon the distance I must travel to get to you. It also compensates me for any business I miss because of the hour to and hour from. So therefore, the reason why there's a minimum charge of $250 is for this reason. However, the job that you have does not meet $250 worth of work, and I can understand if you want to stick with what you've articulated. I have an alternative. I have a referral for you. Would you like me? I didn't ask. Would you like me? I didn't assume that they didn't want it. Would you like me to send you a name and number of someone who can help you with that project, assuming that they didn't have a bigger job for me? So the first thing I would offer them was the potential to do more. Was there anything else that you had in mind? Because I'm open to coming. I'm available to come see you. Is there anything else that you might want to have clean? I'd be willing to talk about a potential discount, as long as we can meet that $250 threshold. Because for me now, it's worth it. But if that did not work out, I gave them an alternative. So it was always about solving that particular customer's problem. But let me get back to this. What do you do when the passion you had for a thing is no longer there? You hope for it, you pray for it, you wanted it, but no longer there. It's gone, it's done, it's a wrap. How do you handle that? The first thing I said was you got to make sure that the method is the right method. Maybe the shift needs to be in how you're doing what you're doing. The second thing I'm talking about is the client. Who? There's a difference between your customer and your client. Your customer is anyone off the street who calls your phone for your product or service, but your client are the people who specifically seek you out. Big difference. The client is loyal. The customer will go with anyone. The client doesn't argue with your price. They pay you exactly what you want, and they pay you on top of it. Whereas, hey, how you doing? Thank you for joining. But also the customer is the person who will go with anyone else who gives them a small discount. That customer is not the one you want to build your business on. That's not the person you want to follow. You want to build your business on the needs, the wants, and desires of the client. But here's another idea. How do you get the passion? Or why is the passion? I shouldn't say how do you get it back, because that's not my job. Why is the passion gone that you once had? You once bled, cried, and had snot running out of your nose for the very thing that now, this business that you have, this relationship that you have, this career that you have, but now you can't stand it. The thing that you used to love, now you loathe. How does that happen? It could be because of the client. If you cast your pearl before swine, the effort that you put in front of that particular person is going to exhaust you. That effort is exhausting. You're trying to work with someone who doesn't respect what you do. They see you as a number. They see you as a contractor. You're not a person. That is tough. That's hard work. Last thing. Last point. And I apologize if I gotten off subject. This is a very passionate conversation for me. I love talking about business, spirit, life, and business. The last reason why a person can lose passion, and this was the one that was applicable to me. This is the reason why I made this last. The reason why you may have lost your passion for something that you used to love, something that you used to pray for, something that you hope for, something that you could even be known for. The reason why you lost that passion is because your assignment there has been fulfilled. The problem is not the environment. The problem is not the customer. The problem is you. You've done all that you're supposed to do. Once I hit 10 years in the carpet, rug, and upholstery cleaning business, for me, that was a wrap. I was done. There was nothing else I needed to prove. And the mistake was to hang on for the 10 months and then 10 days after that. It wreaked havoc on my body from a physical perspective. I had health problems. I had morale problems. I had emotional problems. Because why? The grace had moved on. I was still trying to do something that the opportunity had already passed. My season had passed. I should have been along the road. I should have been doing what I'm doing now, but I was still stuck over there because I like the money, I like the prestige, and I like the notoriety. Once your season comes to a close, there's nothing you can do about that. Whether it's a job, unfortunately, whether it's a relationship, and especially if it's a business. Once that season comes to a close, it's time for you to move on, because the grace that you need, the information that you need, the creativity that you need to solve the problems, the unique problems that are coming your way, does not exist where you are. It exists where you need to be. So you can't do what you need to do here because you're supposed to be over there. Number one, how did I lose my passion? You could have lost your passion because you need to change your method. Number two, how come I lost my passion? It might be because of who you're serving. You have the wrong client. And number three, how come I lost my passion? Why do I not want to do what I once did and prayed for and bled? And I had a prayer circle, and I had the intercessors praying, and I had all these other people wishing and hoping for me. I had you liking my Facebook group and all this stuff. And all of that is now gone. It could be gone because your season has come to a close. I know it's hard to hear, but it's actually a victory. And I'm not saying because I don't know what to say. I'm saying because this one hits hard. This was my experience. So I try to share my experience versus the hypothetical. I came to the realization that what I had been known for, all the information, all the notoriety, all the income connected to that, was going to come to a grinding halt. And I didn't want to make that decision. I didn't want to leave this space of mastery to go to becoming a novice again. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go back to square one. And so I was hesitant. And I believe there are people who are listening to what I'm saying. You've lost the passion for what you're doing. You've lost the passion for your environment. And you want to know, what should I do? You already know what you should do. It's time for you to leave. The vocation is over. The what is done. And so let me break it down again, because I want to make sure I'm clear. The method is how you're doing what you're doing. The who, or the client, is who you're doing, who you're doing what you're doing for. And the reason, or the ultimate reason, and the reason why I had to make an adjustment and make a change, is because of the what. What I was doing was wrong. And the reason why my passion was gone, the reason why my passion left, the reason why it was time for me to do something different, was because my assignment had been fulfilled. I hope this has made some sense to you. My name is Brian Keith. Thank you so much for listening. I love you.